episode 50 of Dissent Into The Wormhole, where we discuss everything from ancient civilization to modern day social issues and everything in between. I'm Les.
And I'm Stevie J, and today we're going to be talking about 10 social expectations and how to debunk them. And we're going to have a really in-depth conversation about this because this is a topic we've actually talked about quite a lot, just you and me. But we're going to share some of our thoughts with all of you and the wider community. But hey, congratulations, episode 50.
Yep.
We did it halfway to a ton.
Yep. Yes, we did.
So,
yes.
I don't know. How are you today?
I am good. It's a little humid here, but I'm not complaining because it's not snow. So.
Right. Excellent.
And how are you?
I'm also good. It's not humid here at all. It's a wee on the chilly side this morning, but looking outside, yeah, I see the sun will come out today at some point. So
good.
I am happy about that.
It's about time you guys get some sun down there.
It is. That would live up to my expectations if the sun was to come out.
Yes.
So.
And if your expectations aren't met.
Ooh, look out, world. Look out.
Going on a rampage.
Exactly. Well, so talking about this, there's a lot of social expectations out there. Now, there's more than just this 10. I want to say that. There's like almost endless expectations, and it depends on people and situations and blah, 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 blah. But I do feel like this list is pretty close to, the top 10-ish of expectations. So I just want to say this to start with. And we are referring to an article here, a top 10 sort of list. Yeah. But it says here, in reality, no one is perfect. Wait a minute, I didn't get that memo.
Oh, I give you that memo every day.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Message received.
Now I got it. Your definition of it differs to other people's definitions. You will have things you like and dislike about yourself, and those things are what make you unique and perfect in your own distinct way. Only when you love your uniqueness will others start to see your true confidence. Loving yourself will positively impact all different aspects of your life. I don't disagree with a lot of what's said there, but what are your initial thoughts on this whole expectations, and especially social expectations?
I think we need to be taught from a very, very young age that just because we expect something of someone doesn't mean they're obligated to do it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that we get to, rule over them until they do it. Just, give them shit until they do it, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
But I think that's ingrained in us from an early childhood. Now that I think about it, because we were expected to do things as children, and maybe sometimes we weren't able to meet up with those expectations. And so the punishment was that. So we're taught from a very young age to punish people when they don't live up to what I expected of you. Whether I asked of you, and the thing is, we're not asking people, we're just expecting it. And of course, there's that expectation. Just be nice, man. Just be nice. That's it.
Yeah.
And people can't even do that.
No.
So it's well, fuck.
Podcast is over. We're done. Everybody's fucked. We can't be nice.
Have a nice day.
We did it. But you're
Number
right.
50 in the bag.
Nailed it. So you spot on though. And something you said there really just twigged with me now is it's that expectation and then consequence with a complete lack of communication. So having that expectation of people, everybody, to do something, say something, feel something, think something, without ever communicating that that's what you feel or how you think they should view the world. So, but people get very irate about it and get really upset because people don't meet their expectations that they've never told anybody. These are my expectations.
Right. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you can't, and I'm pretty sure I've done it. I'm pretty sure. I try to be very aware of like my communication with people. And if I
Yeah.
don't get what I was like, well, did I really ask that person? No. Okay, move on. Like, shame on me, move on, apologize where need be. But I'm pretty sure that yeah, I've probably done this in the past.
Well, I think we're all guilty of it. Let's be honest. Like
Yeah.
we've probably all done it at some point in our lives, and I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a it's a good positive step to recognize it or start to recognize when you might be going to do
Absolutely.
that. And like you said, it's ingrained in us from when we're young because
Yeah.
particularly because of the punishment, then we get punished a lot for not doing what we're supposed to as
Yeah.
kids. But I think that's where there's a lot of misalignment in society as well between people because lots of people, everybody's got a slightly different upbringing and
Mm.
they have from that, they have a slightly different value set. And that value set sets the expectations that they have. And,
Mm-hmm.
when you're living in your own bubble, in your own world, as a kid growing up, and then you become an adult, those values that you have, subconsciously, you believe they're the only values that matter and they're the only ones that exist.
Mm-hmm.
And so everyone else should have those values too.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just go through life expecting people to, behave the way that you think they should and think the
Mm-hmm.
way you think they should. And when they don't,
Yeah.
just like your parents, you go, well, that's bullshit. How could you do that? How
Yeah.
dare you? How dare you behave that way?
Yeah.
It's like, really? This is just me. Like this
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
you can keep
Yeah.
moving
And
down the
I
road.
feel this is where a lot of really petty arguments come from.
Yes.
Really, really petty arguments, and probably broken up friendships that probably didn't need to break up, like friendships, romantic
Mm-hmm.
relationships, jobs, whatever it may be. I guaranteed at some point in my life, I have walked away from someone, something
Mm-hmm.
because of that.
Yeah.
Because of that. Now, obviously, we're not talking about, you know, abusive people. Like, of course, we
Of
want to steer
course.
clear of them because we weren't
Of
expecting that.
course.
And no, it is not, it's not acceptable. We walk away from those. But yeah, it's just like the simple things in life that, you know, we just kind of expect people to do. And when they don't do it, like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? And then
Yeah.
next thing you know, you're in this huge fight and names are being hurled and friendship over. And
Well, that's just it. People when it gets to that point of the name hurling and the you
mm,
know and the shaming, the walking people down the street with a bell.
mm,
Like when you get
yeah.
to that point, you start to people start to say things they either don't mean or that
Oh, they
are
mean it.
well, they're irrelevant though, aren't they, to what the actual
Right.
topic is?
Exactly.
Harsh as
They mean
fuck.
it. It's
Like
just it's just a horrible timing for it to come out.
yes, and not relevant to what the original conversation was
Exactly.
about.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, do you want to take the first one off this list?
Yeah. Yeah, because this one makes me feel better about myself to have loads of friends and be really popular. Because I don't need a lot of friends. I don't. I'm
Mm-hmm.
very I don't know. I'm a lone wolf, man. I have my circle of friends and I'm good with that. And I don't need to be, you know, front of the line with my face.
Yeah.
I don't need to be doing podium speeches. That's for damn sure. But a lot of people do put a lot of pressure on themselves. And I know in high school and public school too, not having a lot of friends, people will, you're that person, you're that guy, you're that girl.
Yeah.
But I find as soon as you get out of high school, like that doesn't matter anymore. It
Yeah.
does not matter. Like I get to do whatever I want because if I never want to see those people again, I don't have to.
Right. And well, yeah, it's funny, isn't it? So, like in school, as you said, it's very much like there could be that kid, or you could be that kid, or whatever, who doesn't have a lot of friends,
Mm-hmm.
and other kids who don't, like that person will go, oh, don't, and say a new kid comes into the school, a new kid comes into the class, and they're like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
don't hang out with them, they got no friends.
Yeah,
So, what's that based on? Like,
exactly.
why? What?
Yeah.
So the expectation then is that, well, they don't have friends, so therefore they're not a good person. They're not
They
someone
don't
I.
deserve to have friends.
Yeah, they're
Because
not
I'm
someone.
not their friend. Because
Yeah,
I'm not their friend. They don't deserve to have friends.
yeah,
There's the expectation.
Meanwhile, you're the prick in the situation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
God.
to be honest, like a lot of from those sorts of situations, school situations, stuff, I have felt the need to have friends. Definitely in my younger years, I always sort of felt like I need to have friends so that I feel like I'm a part of it, I'm popular, I'm whatever. Like, because I just didn't naturally have that, and I was very much not myself, trying to be a part of groups and stuff.
Yes.
But the best realization ever was, hang on a second, I don't have to do shit.
Yeah.
I don't have to do shit. Like, yeah, I'd be nice, but I don't have to be friends with that person or this person or whatever. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I'd much prefer my own company than the company of 50 people that are completely fake and make me feel like shit.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh, speaking of, I was just thinking, I was like, as you were talking, I was like quickly like doing a list of like schools and friends and stuff. And I did have a friend in high school where we were tight, and she was definitely a people collector.
Mm-hmm.
Like she would go on vacation and collect people from all over the world and then keep those friends. So she would always be in constant contact. And for some reason, I felt like that was right.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want this to come across the way it's going to sound. People tire me out. Not that they're physically exhausting,
Mm-hmm.
energetically exhausting.
Yeah.
Like I need to make sure that I'm around people who have, either higher energy or the same energy, because if you're low energy, I can't do it,
Mm.
because it's like a siphon out of me.
Yeah.
I give it away too freely. Hmm. And
Somebody grab that, please. Somebody grab that, please. You heard it here.
so like I could never figure out why I wasn't as happy as she was, because she's happy doing this, like she still does
Yes.
this day, God love her, and she keeps in contact with everyone while being married and has a child and a full-time job. I don't know how she does it. I
Yeah.
don't know, I can't keep up with my 5 friends that I have. So like, and that like thinking back, like that was the thing, like I didn't feel natural in that,
Right.
because I felt that I had, because I thought that that was what you needed to do.
Yes. Yeah.
Because at
Well,
14, 15,
yeah,
you
and
know,
that's another good point, is that you can also get, especially in teenage years, you can get some
mm-hmm,
expectations added on from those
mm-hmm,
social situations. So
yeah,
just like that example, you look at somebody else and you go, oh, that's how I need to be, or how I'm meant to be,
mm-hmm,
or yeah,
yeah,
good point, good point.
yeah,
But it's like you said, when you're with somebody who's low energy, it's like a full cup, that's you, and a low cup, and it's got to balance out. So your energy
yeah,
goes over to the other person.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I
Hmm.
love people. Like that's the thing. Like I do like people. I can't do big doses.
Yeah.
I gotta do little doses.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I get it. Totally get it. So, talking about little doses and going to much broader networks, the next one on the list
mm-hmm.
is the expectation is to always be active on social media.
Where did we get this message?
Well, I didn't get a contract. I didn't get a
Me
contract. I
neither.
didn't read it and I didn't sign it.
Mm-hmm.
But so many people have so many expectations with this. It's like, why haven't you replied? I like totally DM'd you on Instagram 30 seconds ago. Where the
Yeah.
hell are you? It's like,
Yeah.
I am living what's called a life. And so I'm doing that right now.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
it's but like, sorry, but you also have not just, I mentioned Instagram, but there's so many social media platforms now. I don't even know how many there are. And so if you're to be active on all of them all the time, you're not doing anything else in your life.
That's right. And I think something tells me that this, like, we know that the apps were designed to keep us engaged.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, it worked, because it is now the expectation that if we get a message someone ats us in a tweet or something, that we have to respond. I'm not responding. If I see it and I feel the need to respond, I will respond. But I cannot spend all day, every day
Yeah.
having these conversations. I can't do it. And you would not. And those messages, I thank you in DM. It's like, yeah, but you also have my email address. My email address is everywhere.
Yeah.
You can get a hold of me.
Yeah.
You can get a hold of me.
And you know,
It's a trigger for me for some reason. I don't know why. I think it's because it's been pushed upon us.
yeah, and I think it's because of the expectation that comes with it. It really is. Like the expectation that comes with it is that you will respond, and that because a person has sent you a message, therefore you must respond. Therefore you must do something with it. Well, not really. Not really at all, because I mean, you could be walking down the street and somebody starts preaching to you about their favorite religion, and you're like, yeah, well, I don't have to listen to that. I don't have to acknowledge it. I don't have to do anything.
That's right.
So yeah, why is it any different on social media?
Yeah. Well, I see DMs as knocking on my door.
Yes.
I'm not free. I'm not home. I'm not free. I'm busy. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
That if you don't get past the door, there's a reason for it.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. But you're right. Like it is a doorway. It's a gateway, and if someone knocks on your door that you don't want to answer, because the other thing too is, and to use that analogy of the door, it's as if a stranger is coming and knocking on your door, because
yes, that's exactly what it is.
We don't know people online. We don't know, social media, and DMs are great. Like they are good for people that you know and have a some kind of friendship relationship with, whatever. Yeah. But they're not like an open door. That's the thing. Like they shouldn't be. Yeah, it's just open. Come on in. Just come on in. Grab yourself a chair. Make yourself a cup of coffee. It's all good. That's not how it should be. But the expectation is definitely there.
It is definitely there. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like they're strangers and we don't know. And here's my thing about social media and DMs and conversations that you have there. And then we'll move on to the next one. I've had a few of my private DMs go out. That's why I will never answer anything personal. I will never answer any. I will be the vaguest person on the planet if you've just asked me something, unless it's a friend, like unless it's like our group chats or whatever with those other people.
Yeah,
fine, no problem. I have full trust that whatever is said in that conversation is not going anywhere.
Yeah,
but I don't know how that conversation is going to be used against me later on. We don't know what people's motives are. So, and usually when strangers DM you, they're asking you a question or they're asking you for something. I got nothing for you, man. I got nothing for you. If it's really that urgent, you can send me an email, but 9 times out of 10, it's just they want something.
Yeah.
And it's usually personal information.
Yeah. And that's not available. Yeah.
It's under lock and key.
Yeah. And, spot on. I think over the journey, we've all had that experience, as in like, in our group, like we've all had something like that happen. And and you so nailed it when you said the responses have to be very careful. If we do respond, it has to be very careful, because I also had an experience where I thought somebody was a certain type of person, and whoa boy, they were totally different and had an entirely different motive. So and had I responded differently to the messages I received, could have been a big problem. Could have been a big problem.
Absolutely. Yeah. So anyway, lesson learned. So we do not always have to be on social media. Take the pressure off yourself.
Yes.
Done. People can be mad if they want to. It's only social media. It can all be taken down tomorrow. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
It doesn't fucking matter. Okay. So the next one. I like this one because I feel once again in society that we have to be really, really good at something. And the thing is, everyone is good at something. It's just a lot of us have never had the opportunity to figure out what the fuck that is.
Oh, you're so fucking right.
We've never had the opportunity. You're sitting there talking like you know what I'm talking about, Mr. Good at everything he does.
No, come on. You're too nice to me. I've said this
I'm
before.
not. I'm
You
just
are.
honest. I'm just honest. You humble shit. Take it.
You humble shit. Oh,
Take it.
thank you. No one's ever said anything so nice to me.
I know. I know.
But you know, like people.
It's true.
But the thing is, when you said we've never had the time to figure out what the fuck that is. I totally agree, because you go to school and you're told you must do this, 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 and this.
Yeah.
High school, same. College, university, same. Job, same. And that takes up 95% of your time. School, work, all those things. Meanwhile, you could be like going down this road and you're like, and obviously this is a metaphor, right? So you're going down this road, which is life, and you're doing all these things along this road. But you're all the while, you've got one eye looking over into that meadow that looks like it's really fun to go and fucking frolic in. Yeah. And that's the thing you actually want to do, and the thing you could actually be really good at. You're like, I wish I had time to go and explore that some more.
Quick frolic.
A quick frolic in the meadow. But you can't, because you don't have time. Yeah. So you could have that potential sitting there, just sitting there, and never, ever realize it.
Yeah. There's untapped, the word untapped, phrase untapped potential is very real, because the powers that be just won't allow it.
Yep.
And so you get to, you know, our age and you're like, okay, like when people say, well, what were you good at when you were a kid? You're like, well, I have no idea, because I did whatever I was told.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's that.
Yeah, that's right. You do whatever you're told. And then you get chastised if you're not good at whatever that is.
Right.
And you know, you throw a whole lot of other, you know, kind of issues in there too. Like somebody may not even recognize, like if we're talking about kids to start with, right? Kids as an example. Yeah. When you're a kid, you may be really good at something and somebody doesn't recognize it, or they do recognize it but don't support it and don't foster it and, you know, care about making that dream a reality or whatever it is. It could be squashed so quickly. And especially as a kid, if somebody, like a parent, tells you, you know, oh, you can't do that, it's not important, don't do that, you can't do that, don't worry about that anymore. And somebody could have, you know, meant to have ended up being the absolute best of that in the entire world. And they could have been. But because they were told, no, don't do that, you can't do that, this is all the reasons why you can't and shouldn't, they just stop thinking about it. I don't want
you to.
Yeah.
That's just it, because I don't want you to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We hold each other back a lot by what I expect of you.
Yes. Yep. Well,
never mind, what do you expect of you?
Exactly.
What are your expectations of you?
Yeah, and what are you happy with? You know, what are you comfortable with, and all of those sorts of things. Yeah. It's a big one. Now, I'm going to touch on the next one now, because this one I've got a lot of experience with this one. Yes. Okay, the expectation is to always be busy doing something productive. Yes. Oh boy. I got to give myself a trigger warning on this one. So as an example, and just to give people, you know, my real world example, but I'm sure people out there will apply their own to this. But for me, it could have been weekend, worked my ass off all week. Weekend, it's the afternoon, sitting up with my feet up, watching TV, right? And the ex would be out, should be out doing whatever, I don't know, probably hair, nails, or buying something. Anyway, so whenever I would hear,
because that's all us women do.
Well, not all women, okay, but that one. So what would happen for me though is I'd be relaxed, I'd be chilling out, and then I'd hear the wheels rolling in the driveway. And this was my immediate reaction. I've got to be doing something. What can I do?
Mm-hmm.
I go grab a basket of laundry and start folding it. Or I go and just grab something and start doing something housework wise. Otherwise, if I wasn't, then I'd get the attitude of, "Right, you've just been sitting around this whole time. What have you been doing? Why aren't you doing something?"
Yeah.
And so I always had exactly this, the feeling that I needed to be busy doing something productive all the time.
Yep. Yep. And do you find that you still have that sometimes a little bit?
Sometimes it's sometimes like as a reflex, it will happen. But
Okay.
since I've since I've been away from that environment and experiencing something entirely different and amazing, no, I mean it's a very far cry from where that used to be. That little bit of anxiety.
Yeah.
I rarely
had it
experience it.
Yeah, I had it too. And that folding laundry thing was always my go-to. It was always my go-to.
It's a good one, right?
It is a good one because they don't know how much was there before or whatever.
Exactly. You've refolded it 4 times.
Exactly. So it was always my go-to when he came home, because even though he was out not being a productive human either,
Right.
I was the one. It's like, well, what'd you do? What'd you do today? So if he came in the door and I was actually busy, that wouldn't have been the first thought.
Mm-hmm.
So at least I had that 5-minute reprieve of that. So I still feel guilty when I just sit down and put my feet up, like even for an entire day, like on a Sunday or something, if I don't have anything going, if I don't really need to do anything, I'll put my feet up. And every once in a while, I have to remind myself that this is the healthiest thing I can be doing for me.
Yes. Well, isn't it interesting that we both had a similar experience with that, and we both have similar experiences, still to an extent, like in those having those feelings sometimes.
Yeah.
But we've also said to each other, like, been the other person and said, "It's fine, awesome, chill out, like, enjoy,
do nothing,
do less, take the day." So but it seems like to some people who maybe haven't experienced this, it seems like kind of a small and silly thing, but to us, it's actually a big thing to hear somebody say that, especially a significant other, someone we really care about, say that to us. It's a big thing, I feel.
Yeah, because you don't want to feel like you're letting someone down, but being run down and being busy all the time, I feel, is letting someone down.
Yeah.
Because you're not taking care of you. Like if I can't take care of me, for me, how on earth am I going to take care of anything else?
Yeah.
If I'm constantly busy doing things that really don't matter. Like honestly, half this stuff can wait. Half of it doesn't matter. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The world isn't going to implode in that moment if you don't do whatever the thing is.
It's fine.
And I mean, if you've got a life where you can actually literally just sit and do nothing and that's what you want to do, great. Fill your boots.
Love it.
Means nothing to me. Like it doesn't impact me in any way.
God, no.
But for the majority of people do their work, they do their jobs, they do, their housework, they do stuff. So if you want to take a day, a half a day, 2 days, whatever the hell it is that you can take, yeah. Just do nothing. And it's totally fine.
Exactly. Totally fine. Enjoy it. And if anyone tries to tell you differently, they can come to us.
Yeah.
So this next one, I hear this one a lot.
Yes. Well, and what is this one? This one is oh, yes. Okay.
Yeah. The expectation of needing to be in a relationship. This is completely society's fault. I blame all of us collectively. For some reason, we are setting the expectation that we are not worthy humans of anything if we do not have a partner. And here's the thing, a lot of people don't care who that partner is, as long as they can say, my partner, my girlfriend, my boyfriend, my husband, my wife, my whatever. Whatever I may call them.
Yeah.
If I don't have that person with that label, it's a horrible expectation we put on ourselves, because that's how we get into horrible relationships.
Yeah. And, when you look at the divorce rate, well, that's proof in the pudding, isn't it? Because
It is.
so many people get into a relationship, first of all, not really knowing or maybe even liking themselves. And they get into a relationship because it's like, yeah, well, I guess I'm 27. I got to be married by now. Like, what?
That was me.
Yeah. Where's that come from? Oh, it's totally me as well.
Yeah.
Younger than that, but that was totally me.
Oh, yeah, you were very young. Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's like, yeah, this is what I got to do now. And I'm not worthy of existing until I tick that box and I do all of these things.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I ended up with the person that probably couldn't have been worse for me.
Right.
And so but it's something that we do and we're conditioned to do by society is, yeah, I've got to be in a relationship. And, you've told me before, just some, sort of basic conversations that happen. It's like, it could be around kids though as well, but, relationship wise, like, oh, there's still time. You've got time. It's like, yeah, I don't need time. I don't need to find somebody. I don't have to be in a relationship. Yeah, I could go all of my life and not be with anybody and be okay. Fine. That's fine. Yeah. Freaking awesome if you find someone. Great.
Absolutely.
But make sure it's the person who's compatible with you, not just any person.
Yeah.
Because I feel like a relationship,
or the hottest person. Because boy, oh boy, some of my friends, they strive for the hottest girl. Got her. She nearly burned their house down. So yeah, it was worth it.
Yep. Well, but this is the thing, I feel like it's all relative, isn't it? It's all relative and it's subjective, because what old mate potato or what those guys see as hot, maybe I don't. And, and it goes both ways, women, man, everything, all of that. It's all subjective because like you could see personality traits in people that are extremely attractive and
absolutely, yeah.
The physical side is less important, or and there's so much that goes into it. And I feel like if you're just open to, and you've said this so many times before as well, open to and understanding of how you want to feel in a relationship, then you can attract that person without going out there and getting on Tinder or getting on like some dating app, or going out there and like talking to every person on the street going, are you the one? Are you the one? Is it you? But just being
I feel
open.
Some people do that.
Yeah, exactly. But just being open yourself.
And don't force it.
Yeah.
Don't force it, because when you force things, it's combative energy.
Right.
Not cool. And it's okay to be single. It's okay to not have children. That's another one for me.
Oh, yeah.
That I get a lot of. I still get that one today. Like, plenty of time of like, do you not realize how old I am? That ship sailed like a decade ago.
but not only did the ship sail, but like if you didn't even want to be on the ship.
No, I did not. It was a personal decision
exactly.
to never be on board.
Yeah, exactly. And it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Totally
there was
fine.
No embarkment day for me.
Yeah. But people who have no input, there's no impact on them as to what you do and your decision in that area, are still commenting and still have an expectation.
Strangers having input.
Yeah. It's like somebody driving past in a car at 100 kilometers an hour and they're like, you still got time? Have a baby. And you're like, who was that? Actually, shit. I need to take their advice.
They're right. I don't know myself at all. You're absolutely
exactly.
right.
So in that analogy, you've also got those knobheads who would like drive past a woman who's walking on the street and be like, "Show your tits," and it's like, well, I'm not doing that. So I'm definitely not having kids based on this fucker's advice.
Exactly. You know,
happening.
you just made a really, really, really epic fucking point. Oh my God. Okay. So when people come to us and, tell us to do something, you need to be this, you need to do that, you need to dress this way, talk this way, don't say that, say this, blah, blah, blah. Imagine if they were saying, show me your tits.
Yes. Exactly.
Replace anything that they just said. If you're looking at them like, who the hell is this person to tell me? Just imagine that's what they said.
Yep. Anytime that's a really good piece of advice. Yeah. Just imagine it just shows your tits all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
And most of the time you'll find yourself going, hang on a second. Get out. Fuck off. Get out of here. Like, you get to see these tatas. Yeah. You get out of town.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same thing.
Very intrusive.
I hope people don't take it too literally, and then we go for a drive and see all these, people with their tits out everywhere. It's like, no, don't do it. Don't do it.
Unless you want to, then do what you want.
Well, exactly. I hope it's a voluntary outage. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. What are you, the cable company?
Oh, okay. Now it's funny that this one. It's funny that this one, lands on me, because on my other channel, my intro basically is, that I say I hope people have smiled, or maybe made somebody else smile. Because smiles are awesome. So this expectation says to be happy all the time and smile all the time.
Yeah.
Now, I tried to be very careful in the intro that I do to not say, tell people to smile. That's why I say, I hope you've smiled. Because that's not saying, smile. Do it now. Smile right now. Because maybe you didn't have a reason to smile today.
Yeah. There's some days.
Yeah. But I hope you've had a reason to smile.
Yeah.
And...
Or did you have the opportunity to put a smile on someone else's face?
Right.
Because that'll put one on yours too. So.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And so, there's an expectation of, and it's not just smiling, like it says there, it's happy. People are, and have you heard this before? I know you have, but have you heard this before? Oh, why are you so happy? Or why aren't you happy today? This happened, or you've got this, or blah, blah, blah. Like, your life's good. Why aren't you happy? You should be happy. Be happy.
I did.
Smile.
I did.
Like, oh my God, will you shut the fuck up? Like, I'm having a bad day.
No. Yeah, you have no idea what's going on up in here today. You have no idea what Nancy is doing to me. Yeah. And I can't kick her out. So we're just having a me and Nancy day. That's all we're having.
Do you know how many times I've refolded this laundry?
Exactly. This is where we're at today. Yeah. This is where we're at. And some days we're not, and that's just it, because we may have a certain baseline. And I like to think my baseline is this.
Yes.
I like to think that I'm pretty upbeat. I'm pretty happy. Like, even when I'm sitting here by myself, this is me. And, but there are certain days that I just got low energy for whatever reason. I just don't feel like it. And those are the days where everybody notices, and then they all want to know what's wrong. What's wrong? It's like, probably nothing major. It's probably nothing major.
Yeah.
In this moment, I'm just not feeling it. And that is okay.
Yeah.
And I feel that thing for smiling. I feel every single woman who is watching this cringed, because that's our biggest thing. We need to smile more. Yeah. We smile.
Blokes say that all the time. Like,
we do.
Why don't you smile? Why don't you try smiling?
Yeah.
Smile.
Yeah. Try smiling. It looks better on you.
You're like, you should try not being a dick, and that looks better on you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead,
it's really condescending.
Well, it is, I find. I mean, you're telling people to do anything or feel anything is just ridiculous.
Stupid.
People feel what they feel. You can't tell people to do something or make people do something. Yeah. And I mean, and this is just it. it's a very superficial and surface level thing to say. To say, why don't you just be happy or smile or whatever these people say? Because if they actually cared about the person's happiness, the actual happiness of the person, they wouldn't be saying shit like that. They'd just be talking and engaging with the person, and they would know what's going on. And
tell me, what can I do?
Yeah. Or if I can't do anything, I won't. Like, you don't always have to do anything. It's not something like there's something to fix.
Yeah. So this next one, right up our alley. So we're going to do a whole other podcast on this one. But it's the standard education route. So you go to your public school, you go to high school, and then you go to college or university or both, or, and then you go on to do your PhD, your MSD, your XYKP, elemental P, whatever the hell is out there. You go and you do the gamut, because that's what you were supposed to do, because society said you could not be anyone without an education. Guess how much of my education I use on a daily basis? I read, I speak.
Well done. You did it. You read and you speak. I feel like you made it. But that's the same as me. Like, apart from reading and writing and speaking, but I feel I could have learned
writing. Sorry, yes.
I could have learned to speak without school. But it's so true, because I think back to my schooling and I don't really use anything.
Yeah.
I actually use in a more practical sense. So I went to trade school to do a truck mechanic or a heavy vehicle mechanics apprenticeship. And I use more of what I learned in that trade school environment in terms of like measurements and how things work and, like that sort of stuff, more than I would use anything I ever learned at actual school. Mm-hmm. And the whole college thing's an interesting one, and education, because it's like, oh, you must have this. You must do all of these things to get a good job. That's usually what's said. Like, so you can get a good job and be successful. Well, by whose standards, right?
Exactly.
But the thing is, like, I didn't do any of that. I'm fine.
Right.
I'm totally fine.
Yeah.
And so it's just, but it's a massive expectation that we put on kids, and it just flows right on through.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am happy that the world is starting to realize that you don't need a college education, because like I know Mind Valley and Google both don't require that certification, because what we learn in the real world with people, just the things we naturally gravitate to, like in our off time, what do you like to watch? Like, what do you like to research? What do you like to read about? Those are the things that once I realized that I was able to do these things, because, I was able to have some downtime for myself. I realized that what I thought I was supposed to do in life was the complete opposite, because what really intrigued me and what I really got lost in was completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Oh. And it's upsetting when you realize that, and you're like, oof. Oh, but at least I realized it now, and not when I'm, 105 and go,
Right. You've realized it with enough time to enjoy some of that, focus on it, and get into some of that. But you're spot on. I mean, it's like that. It's sort of similar to that road and meadow metaphor that we talked about earlier. Like, it's very similar to that. But interestingly, I had a conversation with a mate of mine who's putting his kids through. He's going to put his kids through private school. Cool, no problem. And he was saying to me, "Oh, it's I just want them to get a good education. I just like, as long as they get a good education, then everything's fine." And I said to him, I go, "Good on you. And if they want to, if the education is going to help them get to where they want to go and the jobs that they want and everything like that, fantastic. That's great. Totally happy for them." I go, "But what about this scenario? They go through all of these things, the stuff, They do their big college degrees. That they get to the end of it. They start working in that job, and they go, "I fucking hate this."
Yep.
They've just spent
every single person that I know. That is every single person I know.
So they spent the last 10 years of their life doing that, doing something they hate, working towards a job that they hate. They've spent $250,000 on college fees. They're in massive debt already. And they go, right, now how do I start my life?
Right.
Doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I get it.
This is where midlife crises come in.
Yeah. And I was trying, I want to be supportive of him and the way that, and his kids. And of course, anyone can do whatever they want to do. But I wanted to just plant that seed in his head as well, that this is also a scenario that could play out. Like, you've got this expectation of how you want their lives to play out. But, and he goes to me, oh, well, what about, what do you want your kids to do then? And I go, I want them to be happy. I want them to be happy. I've said, you could be an NBA star, awesome. Or if you want to be a chicken farmer, go be a chicken farmer.
A beet cleaner.
Right.
A professional beet cleaner.
Yeah, exactly.
If that's what you're happy doing, go do it. You're not hurting anyone, and you're helping the birds clean their beaks.
Yep, exactly. So, and it's not to say that either way is right or wrong.
No, yeah.
But I just wanted to plant that seed with him in that scenario.
Well, that's a good point, because will he be upset in 20 years' time when said child doesn't want to do what their father set them up for?
Exactly. And it's like, well, I said to him, how are you going to react after you've paid the majority of these, school fees and stuff to get to this point, and they don't want to have anything to do with it anymore, because a lot of people will go, how can you do this? How can you do this to me? Like, you have to do that job because I did this X, Y, and Z, so you must do that job. Yeah. How could you do this to me? It's like, yeah, but isn't it my life? I thought it was my life.
No.
Yeah.
You thought wrong.
You thought wrong. All right. So the next one, we've just got a couple to go, and and we'll get through these and then we'll be done. But the next one is to do certain things at certain ages. Use the example there of learning to drive, but it could be anything. It could be anything.
Yeah.
I do feel like sex is one that comes up a lot with this. So, particularly in my experience growing up as a teenage boy, there would be a lot of boys talking about, oh, you haven't lost your virginity yet? Oh, you haven't, when are you going to do it? Haven't you done it yet?
Which begs the question, did they?
Right. Well, probably not. They were trying to find out what it was like.
Exactly.
No, really, I'm asking.
You did? Yeah. I'll call you later.
Give me all the dates, man. Give me all the dates.
I don't know where it is.
But like, there's that. So it's like, around the teenage years, there's that kind of expectation at that age. There is driving. Like, if somebody doesn't want to drive, they really have to get their license straight away? No, of course not. No. But, there's, of course, marriage is another one. Mm-hmm. Having kids is another one.
Yeah, because you're at a certain age. When are you getting married? Get married? When are you having kids? Have kids?
When are you getting divorced?
Yeah, exactly. When are you getting married again? Not getting any younger.
Oh, it's gosh.
Come on, like there's no such thing set in stone. And the thing is that I really feel that society has set it up in such a way that we think we are forced into making these decisions, because from a very young age, and not even from a developed frontal lobe space, we're told to pick what we want to do for the rest of our life. And then we're told to pick a partner, and then we're told to have children, and then we get to a certain age where we're like, I didn't want any of this. I didn't know what I wanted. I just did it because I had a checklist in my head, and everyone was on me, and I just needed to get everyone off my back, and I just needed to feel like I belonged in society. So I checked off, I got the wife, I got the kids, or I got the husband, the fence, the white picket fence, I got the cars, I got the job, I got the trifecta of sixes, and I'm miserable.
Yeah.
Why?
I was just going to say,
and it's because you rushed.
And you got all of that, but what you didn't get was happiness.
Exactly.
None of that brought happiness.
Yeah. Well, because we're bought and sold that list, at the end of that list, there is the happiness pot.
Yeah.
Not telling you that the happiness pot has to come first, and then these will fall into place.
Yeah.
The happiness pot comes first.
And that's just it too. Like, people, I feel, are duped often, and big time, because you're told over and over and over again that's what happiness is. So
Yes.
you're like,
But for who?
Look what I got. I got this, and this, and now I am happy. Yes, I am. But do you feel it? Do you actually
like the Lego
feel
movie.
it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is awesome. Like,
Yeah,
but
it's not.
do you actually feel it? And I would say 9 times out of 10 people don't. People don't truly feel happiness.
No.
And none of those things
it's
bring
sad.
it. Mm-hmm.
It's so sad. The $1 million bank account, but how do you feel every day going into work? Where you throw yourself off the building?
Yeah.
In there.
Yep.
In there. Not the $1 million bank account, but the job that I was like, every day I was like, today could be the day. I don't know.
Yeah.
It could be the day. I was fucking miserable. Just miserable.
And it impacts the rest of your life too, doesn't it? Like
every inch of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it's such a big part of life, those jobs, and it's inescapable. You even if you don't have a shitty boss that calls you at 10 o'clock at night, even if you don't have that, you've still got taking home all of those things that are going on in your mind. And it's like, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And if I don't do that, then I'm not going to be successful. And if people aren't going to like me, and my boss is going to, there's just all of those things.
My boss is going to belittle me. My boss is going to give me a dressing down in front of everyone once again.
Yeah.
That's another problem. We have children managing a lot of our big offices. But anyways, on to the next one. Okay, so this one hits home. To act a certain way just because of how you look or dress.
I feel like we both had a bit of a experience with this one.
Yeah. It's, for some reason, we pigeonhole people. Once again, it's society. Society as a whole, we pigeonhole people. We take one look and we automatically make up this. We make up this persona and this being that this person is, and then you actually meet them and you're like, I didn't see that coming, man.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see that coming.
Yeah.
Like, and meanwhile, that's exactly who they are. We just labeled them wrong.
Exactly. It's the attachment.
Other people are labeling us wrong, but making us wrong for it.
Yeah, exactly. It's the attachment of those labels.
Yep.
They label. So, and I mean, when I say they, I mean it like society, in a societal sense. So you're talking like media, you're talking about movies, TV shows, like all those things that condition us to think a certain way about a certain dress code. So it's like, oh, well, those people are in suits, so they must be credible, they must be good people, they must be successful. Meanwhile,
look, a lab coat must be trustworthy.
Yeah.
Oh, look.
Meanwhile, I could wear a lab coat, but on the inside it's got watches, and on this side it's got jewelry, and in the middle, surprise. So, but
exactly.
But you could use an example of let's go with a homeless person. Okay, so somebody who's wearing, say, some tatty clothes, and maybe looks homeless. Maybe they're not. Maybe they're rich. Yeah. Maybe they're rich as fuck.
We had one of those.
Right.
In Toronto ages ago.
Well, there you go.
I told you that. I told you about her.
Yeah. You told me about that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just all of these labels that get attached to people. And so, one that has come up for me is I like to be comfortable. And so do you. Like,
so
I like to be
comfortable.
2
peas in a pod for that one.
Yeah. It's like, get up in the morning, like, trackies? All right.
Trackies.
But so many other people would comment and judge and do all these things on something that doesn't really impact them at all. No, like, I'm not asking you to get in my pants with me. Like, show us your chance.
I'm not asking you to wear. I'm not asking you to wear them. I'm just saying this is what I plan on wearing today.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't impact anyone at all.
Nope. And if you feel comfortable, you feel good. And if you feel good, then you're going to bring that energy to the world, right? So,
Exactly. I don't know about you, but I just feel I can think better when I'm comfortable.
yes.
So the fact that I was forced to wear, suits and dresses and skirts and
Yeah.
things and heels and whatnot for so long, the fact that I can just put on jogging pants for the day and then get to work, and I actually, well, because I just like what I do, so I just
Yeah.
do it. But like before, well, my dad always says if he sees me in track pants, he tells me I've lost the will to live. So I was brought up with that
And that's it. I
mentality.
mean, I laugh because like that it's so
It's
insanely
ridiculous.
ridiculous,
It's
but it's also
ridiculous.
horrific to grow up
Right.
in that
Right.
situation.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and it's not just parents as well. Like, of course, it's other people out there. I mean,
Yeah.
kids are vicious. Kids are so
Oh,
vicious about what you wear.
yes. Yes.
And I was a kid who always had hand me downs. Like, I got two older brothers, so I always had
Yeah.
whatever I was wearing was generally old. It was
Right.
it had had its day.
Yeah.
And so I was always that kid. So I was wearing the older rundown clothes, and I don't like to me personally. I didn't care, and in some senses, I had almost wore some of it with a sense of pride because I was like, oh, my older brother wore this, and look how cool I am because
Yeah.
I'm wearing it.
Yeah.
But then other people would shoot that down and be like, oh, what are you, like homeless or something? Like, are you guys poor? Is your family poor? And it's like, well, geez, if I was, thanks for kicking me in the nuts and like making me feel really bad about it.
Exactly. Like that's yeah.
But yeah, the whole dress
Children.
thing is like, it's an old one and it's, cliche, I guess, but you cannot judge a book by its cover because
Absolutely not.
I've met so many people who could be dressed any kind of way and you find out they're amazing. And the opposite too. People could be dressed, in a way that you think, oh, they look cool. No, not cool at all.
No. No. Not even close.
All right. So last one. This is the last one. To have certain views because of your family or social background. Ooh, what a doozy.
It's a doozy. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like we touched on a lot of this sort of topic when we talked about family and social stuff already. But, a big one that does come along with this one is religion. Religion comes along with this one big time.
Yeah.
And saying parents saying to us, you should believe this because I believe it.
Right.
Instead of having...
Isn't it funny though? Because if I believe in ghosts at the age of 5, I'm told not to.
Oh, thank you.
But I need to believe in whatever. And maybe I don't quite see it that way.
Yeah.
Well, now we're at an impasse.
And we are at an impasse. And isn't it interesting that parents are so willing to say that? Like, you have to believe what I believe in. This is what I believe in. No, don't believe that. It's wrong. And it's said so often and so repetitively. When it's that saying stuff like that says more about the parents than it does about the kids or the other people in that family situation. Because why not just say, this is what I believe, but you believe whatever you want to believe.
Yep.
Here's some information.
Well for me.
Here's some information that I have. There's more information out there. And if there isn't, you can find whatever you can find. Whatever.
Yep.
Make up your own mind.
I'll even help you look.
Yeah. Let's have a look.
No problem.
Let's check it out.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm very grateful for that. I was christened, but only for the fact it was from my grandparents, and my mom wanted me to be christened in the church that the rest of the women were christened in England, and then they promptly turned around and tore it down. So there's that. But other than that, I was not raised in any church, technically heathen, and I was just able to find my own path. And I'm very, very grateful that they left every door open for me. Every door. I
Right.
could have gone down any road.
And that's good. Like, that's a good experience
Yeah.
to have. And actually, luckily, I was basically the same as that. Like, there was no real religion in my family, which was good.
Yeah.
So I was open in that sense. But you just got me thinking about and remembering a conversation we had the other day about some of those family expectations, you know, like sitting at the dinner table. And as a kid,
Oh, elbows on the table.
I was always told, get your elbows off the table, get your elbows off the table, elbows off the table. And so that passed on to me, right? And then so when my kids started to be old enough to eat at the table, like, you know, with a knife and fork, when they weren't just like mashing their face into their food, I started saying, elbows off the table, elbows off the table. And then I stopped one day and I was like, why am I saying this?
Yeah.
I actually do not care if their elbows are on the table.
They're only elbows. It's only a table.
Right. Yeah. It's not like they put their elbow on the table and the table explodes.
Exactly. Exactly. The world tilts off its axis.
Yeah. So
nothing's going to happen.
There's lots and lots of little things like that. Yeah. They're little individual things that make up a big thing of all these expectations from family. So
yeah, absolutely. And we do when I don't have kids, but I witnessed it from being a child. That there are all these expectations and this pressure to meet up to them, that you cause your own illnesses from putting all this pressure on yourself for things that you don't even want to do.
Yeah.
You don't want to do. You don't care. Like, you failed and you're like, I don't care, but you're so in fear that you failed because they're going to be mad at you. It's like, well, I never fucking asked to begin with.
Yeah.
Never asked.
Exactly. Yeah, it causes
if I
so
did ask, and if I did ask, I'm allowed to not like it anymore. Yeah. I'm allowed to try it and decide that I didn't like it.
Yeah.
Not completely follow through with it and to be my career goal.
Yes.
Fuck that.
100%. 100%. And people feel, you know, just on that really quickly, back on the college stuff and the education stuff, you know, we talked about the money and how the parents might feel at the end of that scenario if the kid doesn't want to do what their career path was. But how many people and how many of those kids do you think go all the way through, they do all their college, they do all their stuff and the things, and then they continue on for the rest of their lives because they feel too anxious about saying something to their parents and saying, I actually don't want to do that. Eek. Like, because they feel obligated after all of the money that was spent, after all of the times they were told this is what you need to do, they feel so obligated to stick with it that they'll continue on for the rest of their life.
Absolutely.
Hating it.
Yep.
Absolutely hating it.
Now, here's the thing. If all of my friends, I can't think of one who went to school for a thing and actually is either doing that job, or if they are, they're loving it. This is what they were built for. Out of all of my friends. So are they, because a lot of them their kids are at that age where if they start saying, well, what do you want to do when you grow up? Are any single one of them going to turn around and say, okay, kids, I hate what I do. I do not like what I went to school for. I do not want this to be you. How many parents, and please raise your hand, give us a comment, let us know. Would you be willing, or have you already told your kid that this is a potential outcome? So be aware.
I would say there's probably not too many people who've done that.
Yeah, because I was just thinking of one. I'm like, I wonder if she's ever told her kids that she absolutely loathes her job, that she spent $100,000 on and went multiple countries to get her get her degrees sooner, and she hates it.
Such a good point.
She puts so much pressure on herself in school.
Yeah.
I wonder.
I feel there's a lot of parents out there hating their lives, just hating their lives and like their jobs, but hating their lives and still telling their kids, you've got to do this and you've got to do that and you have to do that, even though they're miserable and they know it themselves.
Yeah. Nailed it. Yep.
Oh, well, this has been a big one.
It has been a big one.
It's been a fun one, though. I mean, they're all fun, but Yeah, such an interesting conversation, and I feel like it's just flown by. But
It did. I just looked at the time. I'm like, really? You have to go to work.
I do have to go to work. Birds are chirping, sun's shining, and stuff like that. So, yeah, I got to get going. But I really enjoyed this. Thank you so much. And
Thank you so much.
I hope everybody else enjoyed it too.
Yeah. So, yeah, till next time.
Ta-ta.
Take care, guys.
Bye.